What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the intro. So on today's kind of mission is I gotta find some new spots to fish. I don't know, these two places that I'm gonna go check out, one is roughly 6-7 miles from my house, and then the other one is around 3 miles from my house. However, the one that's 3 miles is kind of in a bad area, but I ain't too much worried about that. But yeah, so that's basically today's mission, and I apologize for not posting a video within, I think it's 8 days. I have been so busy with the wife and trying to lose this gut and this weight, so my mindset, my focus has been on nothing but eating right and losing this weight. Because I don't want to be diabetic, and both my parents are, and I'm not trying to do all that. It's just been great. I want to say thank you guys so much. We of course, because I have you guys, we have actually reached over 100 subscribers to this channel. Yeah, right, yes, okay. And that to me means the world. Once again, I just want to say thank you. And also, hey, today's Monday. Monday is the start of a new week, and that's how you have to look at it. You can't go, oh, it's Monday, it sucks, I gotta go back to work. No, negative. You got to be like, oh my gosh, it's Monday. How can I make this week better than last week? Yeah, that's not a place I want to film or fish at. Ta-da! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Basshamtv. As you can see earlier, we went on a little trip. I was trying to find better ways to fish different areas rather than just the same old fishing areas that you guys have seen, and I appreciate you sticking with me. Today we're going to talk about lures. Whatever. Today we're going to talk about baits that you need to fish year round. So no matter what time or what type of condition that you may see, these are the lures that you can use year round to catch some bass. So everybody wants cheaper baits, right? So you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money. Why? Because you lose them. 9 times out of 10 they get snug on a tree, they get snug on a branch, they get hooked on a rock, something, and you end up losing your bait. And everybody, I don't care who you are, whatever fisherman you are, you're gonna cry just a little bit. Deep down in the heart right there, you're definitely gonna cry. Why? Because you spent $7 on a nice lure, right? So here are some, basically the type of lures that I use. They're X2Os, right? I find them at Academy. I get them for around $1 to $4, and it just depends on what type of bait that I want to use in their arsenal. And they're great. They look just as good as Strike King, and they're just amazing baits. They're really cheap, especially for just a guy like me. I'm not big, I'm not made of money, so I have to figure out a way to adjust my budget a little bit to find baits to use. And I would recommend, I think it's the H2Os, if I'm not mistaken. Go to Academy, find out what type of bait that you want to see, and do your own price comparison. But for me, it's the best bait, best colorful bait, and they just work for. So we all know that bass like to go deep in the summertime, and they like to go shallower up in the wintertime, right? And these baits that I'm about to share with you, they go year round. You can use them for whatever season. So your ultimate goal is to catch a bass. You're trying to find those bass that are out there, and if you kind of stick with that, I mean, it's very, it's just a common knowledge that, bass like to go deep in the summer, and they like to stay shallow, in the wintertime. So if you could just kind of keep that, in the back of your mind as you're reviewing some of these, these baits that I'm about to share with you, then you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry, it's the wife. All right, so you're basically trying to look for lures that will go over weeds, rocks, under docks, you know, in through, around trees, whatever. And these 5 baits are really going to help you out with that. Okay, the first one is going to be the jig. The jig is a year-round lure that you can use to catch all kinds of bass. I'm talking smallmouth, largemouth, rock bass. I mean, whatever type of bass that you have in your area, the jig is just the way to go. You can pair them with trailers, of course, and those trailers, I like to use creature baits. That's just me. It's what I like to do. But you can definitely pair them, you know, with a trailer. And what you want to do is kind of get them to look like a bluegill. What color jig you're using, you know, I use a pumpkin jig, I use a black and blue jig, and that's pretty much the only 2 jigs that I use. You know, there's different colors out there. Some are flashy, some are not. It's up to you. It's your preference on whatever jig that you would like to use. So there's all kind of jigs out there. Just to name a few, you have a swim jig, you have a football jig, and you have an arky jig. So really, a jig you can use all year round. It's really good through weeds. It's really good to throw under docks, rocks. I mean, wherever. It's just an all-around lure that you can use year round. So on to the next one. Number 2 on the list is going to be crankbaits. Crankbaits, I love crankbaits. I am a power fisherman, and I love crankbaits. I've never had any issues with a crankbait. And you can there's square bills, there's round bills, there's the coffin bill. Now the coffin bill and the square bill, those two, they're kind of designed to not get stuck. However, I have gotten stuck, but the way that they're designed is that, you know, you can hit say a rock and it'll just, you know, kind of shimmy off and then go around. And it does happen. I mean, if you're watching this, I mean, you obviously know. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know how often it happens to you. And there's different colors that you can use. I would just use whatever the bait is in your area. Like, I live here in Tennessee, so a lot of it's shad. So a lot of it is all shad colors, chartreuse colors. I also have, I do have a like a crawfish color. I have that. And they work really, really well. I use them year round. Hell, I use them even in winter. Like during the winter time, you kind of want to use like a narrow crankbait, you know, something that has like a narrow swim to it, because the fish aren't that, you know, active, but they will bite. You will get a strike. During the summertime, you want that fat body that gives it that nice, you know, big wobble. All right, and number 3 on the list is going to be jerk baits. Yes, I said it, jerk baits. A lot of people only think that you can swim these things and utilize them during the spring when the water is, you know, somewhat cold, and that's not the case. You can use a jerkbait year round. Now, what I like to do is I like to do the 3 and hold. So what I'll do is I'll cast out there and I'll go 1, 2, 3, and then I'll let it rise. And then 9 times out of 10, when it rises and it gets to the top, you're gonna get a strike. And I have caught so many bass by using that, and that's just me. That's my preference. But I've used it year round, and it's a great bait. And I totally get why people don't use them year round, because they feel that they don't get bit year round. But it's not true. It is. You will get bit. Trust me, use that bait. Jerk bait is the way to go. So number 4 on the list is going to be anything like a crawl type bait. That's what I use. And I use them for trailers on my jigs, and I get bit. I set them up on a T-rig. I might even use them with a shaky head, you know, and just run along the bottom. Whatever it is, but those are actually really good to use year round. I've caught it year round. Now, I haven't caught them in like winter, like middle of winter. Really haven't caught them there, but at the same time, I'm duck hunting. I ain't really, you know, fishing for bass. I'm out there, you know, trying to destroy ducks and bring food home for the family. All right, guys, another good one is spinner baits. Yes, spinner baits. I love spinner baits. You can run them fast during the summer, you can run them slow during the winter. It all just depends on how you want to fish. A good tip is that the part, I wish I had one here with me, I actually left them in the truck, but where the hook is, and then where that little angle that looks funny that comes out like this, and then it goes up with a guide here, and then the thing's there, tie directly, please tie directly to the spinnerbait. Do not use a swivel. Do not use anything else. Tie it directly to the spinnerbait. That's what you want to do. And number 5, my all-time favorite, is a lipless crankbait. Yes, my favorite. I use it year round. I use it in shallow, I use it in deep, I use it in weeds. I mean, I use it constantly. And I have so many that I've actually lost. But I used to have a whole lot. Now I think I'm down to one, which is that chartreuse, which you just saw. And I've got to, I got to build that back up. They're very versatile. It's a versatile bait. And the reason why I say that is because you can use it at any depth and you can use it at any speed, and it will catch fish year round. All right, guys, there goes my 5 top lures that I like to use year round. Hopefully you can throw a couple of those in your bag and in your tackle box, and hopefully you get the same results as I do. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and thank you again for watching.